are these people?
We talked about nightmare fuel frequently on the show. Last week we talked about facial recognition stuff in that Israel's using against Palestinians. So I figured we should look more into something I touched on in that segment. And luckily, Declassified UK has us covered. So Mark Curtis writes, British troops using Israeli arms technology tested in Gaza. Who would have thought, Collin, that it's just essentially a testing ground for murder.
Right.
So they're talking about this cutting edge weapon site, which we'll get into. I think it sounds benign at the front, but I think its implications are a little more scurry. The British Army's main global response force is now equipped with new EF technology being used in Gaza. The Air Assault Brigade, based in Gloucestershire, you would know that more than I would, right? Gloucestershire,
Yeah.
Worcestershire, Gloucestershire, whatever.
All right.
Y'all need to figure English out, England. Just telling you. So has been training with high-tech weapon sites manufactured by Israeli arms firm Smart Shooter. The brigade is held at high readiness to respond to crises, including warfighting anywhere in the world, the Army says. Last month, soldiers in the brigade shot down enemy drones in an exercise on Salisbury Plain using newly acquired weapon sights from the Israeli firm. So the sophisticated scopes are attached to assault rifles and other guns and give soldiers a high probability of a hit. They can recognize a target, track its movements, and maintain a lock on the target even if it or the user moves. It's behind cover, depending on things. So the Army says it intends to use the equipment against drones, but the specialist sites can be used against land-based targets. Well, soldiers in the IDF are using thousands of smart shooter sites in the fighting on various fronts. Israeli media site Globes has reported. The company, which is managed by Israeli arms industry veterans, produces a range of precision targeting equipment that has been developed under the direction and funding of the Israeli Defense Ministry's Directorate of Defense Research and Development. So, Collin, let's take a look at Smart Shooter, right? This is their website. It's not a standard rifle optic. It's an automatic targeting and firing system for small arms. Okay? So, what do you think that means? So, you can mount it to anything. You can put it on your 50 caliber Barrett if you want to, right? Selects your target. Through advanced image processing, Smash recognizes the target and can predict its movements. It tracks that. Smash will stay locked on the target even when you or the target move, right? And then once locked, pull the trigger and Smash will do the rest, making sure you hit the target. Okay? So it's essentially aimbot for real guns.
Yeah.
Essentially doesn't let you pull the trigger unless you're actually accurate. Right? So things like this, the Smash X4, little 4x magnified optic, right? Includes all their, lovely AI capable stuff in it, right? But here's how it's used. We've seen stuff kind of similar recently, right?
Yes.
But I don't think people, until they see it, I don't think they really understand. Like this isn't like, it takes a lot of the guesswork out of hitting targets, like, of course, laser range finding, standard stuff, really, we already do that, but it's, mainly it's the feature of like wind conditions and locking on target, all that stuff. All the tracking, target detection, things like that, right? Is a factor for that. But more importantly, less on normal rifles, right? I think it's less a problem. right? But it's stuff like this, right? Which we covered this a bit, right? Weapon mounted systems. Um, that does very similar things, right? But
Mm-hmm.
um, it can all be done remotely, safely, all that jazz. There you go. Doesn't it look nice and very capable to be planted on top of a robot dog? Very,
Sure.
very capable of doing that. So my thing for these are pretty easily concealable, you know? Like it's a lot easier to hide a gun than it is to hide a person. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Like that to
Right.
me is the factor. And try to think about this much more like police will have this technology, you know? Like it will become used here, you know? There might even be civilian versions of all this, which is even more terrifying to me, right? But, again, vehicle mounted, all that stuff. I don't know exactly how capable it is as far as larger caliber weapons, right? Could I throw an
Mm-hmm.
M60 on there and it do the same? I don't know, right? But I mean, we've seen this. They're pulling up a little tablet, pointing out targets, pressing the button. I mean, they're video gaming death for the most part. Um, but it doesn't just stop there, Colin. Let me introduce you to Smash Dragon, right? So that's that's a drone with a gun, pretty much. I mean, it's a drone with facial tracking, and I don't know why they put the gun upside down, but they felt that was important, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, just slightly terrifying, like future war nonsense. I mean, this is without the need for probably anyone to man this. So, like, this can't be done autonomously, you know? Attach Lavender AI to this and it go around shooting whoever it wants, you
Mm-hmm.
know? But you have any thoughts so far other than just terror, you know?
I mean, no. I mean, I think you have I think this is your kink, honestly.
I just see wider like implications, right?
Yes.
This isn't going to stop at Gaza, you know?
Right.
Like now we've heard in places like Gaza you can't record audio without hearing thousands of drones, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we've heard those things, right? Uh, throw a rocket launcher on there and it's fine. We've talked about just a little bit of plastic explosives on a tiny drone could do a lot of damage. So I think people don't understand what warfare is anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is across the board. This is Russia, China, here. Every one of them have this technology and are using it to the utmost. Right now in Ukraine and Russia, they're both sides are using kamikaze drones everywhere, right? Because it's cheap to produce, right? And massively effective. You know, like it cost me $200 to make a drone, put some plastic explosives on it, and it does the work of a warthog. You know, like
Right.
I think that's the thing you're seeing with this is like the economy of warfare is changing. Plus, I guarantee you this can hit you from like way before you ever see it or hear it. That's also the
Mm-hmm.
factors I have. It can track you behind walls. Like good luck, you know? So, but anyway, um I think there's a little more to this article. Um so smart shooters weapon sights first came in Used by the Israeli military in 2018, the IDF's use of smart shooters equipment has since expanded, with Israeli special forces and commandos teams such as the Maglan Unit and Golani Brigade deploying variants of the company's weapon sights technology in Gaza. The system that turns every soldier into a sniper is how IDF ministry has described the introduction of smart shooters equipment. Honored to support the IDF and global forces, Smart Shooter has tweeted in response. So, if in a post earlier this year, the company noted that its equipment was one of the most useful new items being demonstrated on the battlefield. Journalist Antti Lowenstein has shown how Israel has routinely deployed new types of military equipment against Palestinians and then marketed and sold those around the world. That's the kicker for me, right? This will be sold to our police forces, to special forces around the world, right? There is wider implications to this technology. He told Declassified, Smart Shooter is just one of many Israeli companies testing equipment on occupied Palestinians. It's a highly profitable business, and the slaughter in Gaza isn't slowing down the trade. If anything, it's increasing due to many nations attracted to the Israeli model of subjugation and control. Other military items tested by Israel for the first time in the battlefield in Gaza include the 7.62 Negev machine gun, Holit and Yadid shouldered fire rockets, the Iron Sting mortar shell, and a fifth-generation Merkava tank. Amid the war in Gaza, Smart Shooter's equipment was shown off at an arms exhibition in September, sponsored by Britain's Ministry of Defense. Viking Arms, a Yorkshire-based company that distributes Smart Shooter's equipment in Britain, presented the products at an arms fair known as DVD 2024, which took place in Bedfordshire. Viking Arms said the event will emphasize learning from current conflicts and would involve discussions with Army headquarters personnel. In June 2023, Britain's MOD purchased an initial 225 Smart Shooter gun sights in a contract with Viking Arms worth £4.6 million. Care Bear. How much is that in regular dollar dues? Like 8 million? Around, like give or take. The contract is part of a 5-year framework agreement worth up to £20 million to deliver more equipment to dismounted close combat soldiers. The British Army stated to receive the weapon sights in early 2024. It says the Smart Shooters equipment will provide soldiers with a cutting-edge weapon sight that will give them a tactical advantage countering drones. They will be available to very high readiness units across the British Army, as well as to forces in the Navy and Royal Air Force. The sights were first tested by the Army's Experimentation Battalion, 2 Yorks, in 2022. Smart Shooter's weapon sights are also deployed by U.S. Special Forces and several other NATO armies. Last month, Declassified revealed a secret UK military project with Israel, codenamed Hezuk, which sought to strengthen intelligence collaboration and military cooperation. Details of the plans concern defense capability, including a number of MOD programs with potential Israeli solutions, such as countering small drones. So, any questions?
I do not.
Okay. Any thoughts? Closing statements? You know.
We're fine.
Yeah, yes, we are. Yes, we are. Well, talking about these things is why we're demonetized. You can scan that QR code on your screen or go to cash.app/indienewsnetwork. Help us out with the dollary dues there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please share. You know, we're heavily suppressed, so any little bit helps. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think. You know, what terrifying things keep you up at night. Otherwise, thanks for watching.